Remember when she went down, she thought a bunch of, and then she go down there. There's nothing wrong with the kitchen.
I'm going to save everyone's life right now. If you ever think that you might actually be in like one of those horror movies where it's happening, I advise you to go outside and stop drinking the water at the place you're at. Almost, almost every single one of those horror movies can be attributed to really bad water or really bad gases in old houses.
Unless you got one of those really good gravity filters. Clear.
Okay.
Berkey filters, those things are cool.
For real, for real.
Get
So
rid
what
of
people?
that. I was gonna say get rid of that fluoride out of your water so you can get smarter, not dumber.
But I'm all in love with that fluoride stare, brother. Like those are the best chicks. They just sit there kind of slack jawed, like, okay. Mouth breathing.
They're the easiest. Yeah, I got you.
Go get that Bluetooth. You got it. Because the live just started not even an hour ago. Normally, so right now, the normal people that normally hear, like, what the hell is going on? I keep trying to tell people we're not subjecting this to not one thing. We are.
You know, I told you about a truth be told. The other truth be told is in the show.
Oh, truth be told, audits. Yeah, you
Audit.
said that.
Sure.
Yeah, truth be told, audits. That's a whole entire fact. Yeah, you said that earlier. Yeah.
That's my boy.
That's what's up, man. So come on, man. I want you guys to do me a favor, right? Address the people in the chat that are your subscribers so they know what's going on in case some of them are like, what the hell is happening?
All right. So here's what's going on. I forgot to title it properly. I just copy pasted it over.
Pasta.
I'm going through different YouTube creators and channels that I find interesting, and if they'll allow me to restream it, I'm going to do an hour with whatever creator it was. Apparently, I got distracted in the process of setting this one up, so I forgot to do the hour with part. But here we are. Now we got Truth Be Told audits. We got the Wandering Hippie. Good to see you. Glad to see you streaming again. That's real cool. We got ATL Transparency News. We got, all right, that's Mandatory Carry is the name of that channel. He just likes to be eccentric and write Volstead backwards. That's the Volstead Act, not Data's Law.
Oh, yep. Bluetooth,
Okay.
yep.
Andrew Langlois, good to see you, bud. Appreciate you coming through. We got a super mod Swiss Miss in the chat. Edwina Hewitt's joined us. What about the water pipes? No, I hit it. Let's load it up, bro. Now, I've tried to say this name a few times, but I'm just going to call him, which one are you? Are you Muslim bro or Ortho bro? I can't remember. That sounds offensive, but it's not because he's way more offensive than that question. Just for anybody interested. Cryptic Unicorn, welcome back, brother. I appreciate you coming through. We have this dude called Butt Phone, who's, I'm unsure who they are, but given what they've typed in chat, I feel like I should know who it is. And I think I might know who it is, but I'm not going to swear it. We got American 101 joining us, and that's cool. I think that covers my chat. I appreciate it, brother.
We appreciate you. Anybody in your chat, Mark? You got anybody in here, Mark?
Nope.
Okay. I like to let people talk to their own subscribers at time. Like when I'm on you guys panels in the future, you'll see I'm gonna ask, let me address people in the chat and just to give people comfortability, let them understand a little bit of context of what they're looking at. So over here, we like to talk about a lot of topics, different topics. So that's why you'll notice that towards the end of the title, it says something like open panel, open topics type of thing, because we don't like to be in a box all the time, even though we're in a box. You know, you see him looking up and down, even though we're in a box. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like people to try to tell me what we can and can't bring up, what we can and can't do. And you guys know your subscribers. You guys know what your subscribers like.
Mine are insane. I've interviewed people from all across YouTube, left, right, center, rich people, poor people, people who sew things, artists, mechanics. You name it. I've covered a channel that probably does something like that.
I got a chat here.
Happy birthday! Sorry,
I was gonna say it's in my chat too. Master Bert says birthday.
Master, happy birthday! Everybody, give Master a happy birthday if you guys don't mind. Write that in the chat. Happy birthday!
Should I sing happy birthday like Marilyn Manson?
To his brother, I think, or their brother, whoever they are. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Oh man.
Happy birthday.
All right.
All it is a white dress and a blonde wig.
Pop out of a cake for you.
Damn right.
Who is
What movie is that from? You remember that? You're old like me.
Why
That's
can't
from
I-
that one movie with the president and the carrier.
The what?
Oh,
What you talking about? With Harrison Ford?
I think no, maybe
No.
no.
Patriot
That's Air
Games.
Force One. You're talking about Air Force One.
Oh, you're talking about Under Siege or
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in a long ass time.
That's what,
She
dude.
pops out of the cake and she's like, "Mr. President."
No, I haven't seen that in a long ass time. So you ready to bring up the screen? Hold up. Somebody asked for the channel in the chat. Please subscribe to the channel, man. I'm trying to monetize over here. To be honest, we definitely are trying to monetize. We're bringing all types of content, all different types of ways. You guys want to say something before we push play?
I'm trying to save your share your channel as we speak.
All right. You can
The
hit play,
Roosevelt
my man.
ancestor that Teddy and Franklin share in common. That man was Nicholas Roosevelt. Teddy descends from his son Johannes, whereas Franklin descends from his son Jacob. This makes the two Roosevelt presidents fifth cousins. Another thing you might not have been aware of is that Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of Franklin Roosevelt, was also a Roosevelt. Not just by marriage, but by birth. She was actually Teddy Roosevelt's niece. So the two presidents actually share a closer relationship through marriage than they do through blood. Franklin Roosevelt was the 32nd president, and he is often remembered by his initials FDR. Well, the D stands for Delano, which was his mother's maiden name. The Delano family descends from a man named Philip Delano, who arrived in New England just 1 year after the Mayflower. And he's actually the ancestor of 3 American presidents. In addition to FDR, he's also the direct ancestor of Ulysses Grant, the 18th president, and Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president. So that makes FDR and Ulysses Grant fourth cousins.
Hold up 1
once
second. Can you
removed,
go that part?
and FDR
One
and Coolidge.
question. Before we go, because I didn't catch this part. Which one was the first one that everybody? Which one was the first one? I just can't remember that.
It's going to get into that because John Adams is over there, and he's the second president.
What it do, Biggie? What it do? Appreciate that. Truth be told, audits. Yeah, man. Subscribe to the channel. We're definitely trying to monetize. We already got the watch time hours. We just got to get to that 1,000 subscriber count.
He's going through the time, like over the. If you see it right there, it's John Adams up here in the green section.
Okay.
He's the second president, so that's like, right after George Washington.
So I just wanna, because what I'm gonna throw is the first one to the most recent one and say, do you guys know that these two people are related, regardless of how far from now the most recent one is? That's all. But thank you
Yeah.
guys. You play.
Yeah. Okay.
Coolidge, 6th cousins, twice removed. Now, before we go on, a lot of people get confused by the whole once removed, twice removed terminology. So let me quickly explain. If two people share the same parents, they are siblings. If they both have a kid, those kids are first cousins. The next generation down would be second cousins, and then third cousins, and so on. However, when we're comparing the relationship between two people in different generations, we use the term removed to refer to how big the difference is. So, for example, if we want to describe the relationship between this person and this person, we'd say that they are first cousins once removed. If you kept going down, you'd get twice removed, 3 times removed, and so forth. Okay, so back to the presidents. You can see here that FDR had a great-great-grandmother named Elizabeth Cushman, and she was the direct descendant of Isaac Allerton, one of the 51 surviving passengers of the Mayflower. The Mayflower being the first English boat to arrive in what would become New England. That was way back in the year 1620. Several U.S. presidents are Mayflower descendants, as are many Americans in general. For example, Zachary Taylor was also a descendant of Isaac Allerton, whereas the two Bushes descend from Mayflower passenger John Howland. FDR actually descends from a second Mayflower passenger, Richard Warren, as did Ulysses Grant. And Coolidge and the two Adams descend from Mayflower passenger John Alden. Speaking of the Bushes and the Adams, these are the only two cases of father-son presidents. John Adams, who was president just after George Washington, was one of the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence. At the time,
All right, one thing I want to say before we go any further is just remember the golden rule of history repeats. And you see how John Adams and John Quincy Adams, the second and sixth president, were related and how close they were.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, history doesn't repeat, but it does often rhyme.
No, well, that I mean, get what I'm saying. Everyone says repeat, but yeah, it
And
rhymes.
occasionally, like the past couple of months at rap battles.
So no, we definitely love the comedic. So we like to be comedic and drop knowledge at the same time. We try to break it up. So like think about what he's saying though. If people don't know the history, then they're able to pull the same flim flam over you. They're gonna pull the same blanket over your eyes until you realize, hey, let me cover my mind. What are you doing? You guys agree with that or no?
Yeah, but see, look, what I'm saying is John Adams and John Quincy Adams, that's grandpa and like grandson or something like that, right?
And how many presidents in between them?
Well, it doesn't matter because look at Bush, George Bush and his son. It's like
No, that is correct. I
you
didn't
see
think
what I'm
about
saying?
it that way.
They're right next to each other in green and pretty much almost the same kind of situation.
Mm.
I mean, there's 4 presidents between them, but there was only one between these two.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's only one between those two. And I think wasn't it on the father Bush like the head of the CIA?
Yeah, he's the one that started. Contra Corps and all that.
This is one of
Cracking
these
the
moments right here.
No. He's putting the hat back on.
When the CIA comes up, I put on protection.
Okay. Come
You're not
on.
gonna
You
get
get
Yeah,
about-
they be shooting us with those frequencies all the time. So he's right.
Yeah, that's what we're doing back to them right now. We're hitting them with our frequency because once we band together, our frequency is unbreakable.
Uh-huh.
Let's
I
go,
like
my guy.
I like that.
time he signed it, his son, John Quincy Adams, was only 8 years old. But several decades later, John Quincy would go on to serve as the country's 6th president. The Bush.
He just said his son was 8 years old. So that means it's the same situation. John Adams and Quincy, George Bush and Jr., they're father and son. It's the same situation.
The same bloodline, basically.
Yeah.
Not direct, but yeah.
Almost.
Same. Yeah, we're getting there. We're putting the dots are getting a lot closer together.
Yep.
Bushes, of course, both served as president much more recently. George H.W. Bush being the 41st president, and his son George W. Bush being the 43rd. In addition to the 2 sets of father-son presidents, there was also a case of grandfather-grandson presidents. That was William Harrison, the 9th president, and Benjamin Harrison, the 23rd president. William Harrison is notable in that he died a mere 31 days after his inauguration, making his presidency the shortest of all time. Let's now look at James Madison, the 4th president, James Polk, the 11th president, and Zachary Taylor, the 12th president. Other than
Pause that for 1 second. What happened?
I got a mod that seems to be picking up the pitchforks and the torches and wanting to storm the castle because apparently I ghosted him and didn't notice it. So thank you for modding my chat. I appreciate you sky dropping in the emergency situation that I didn't know was happening. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That's what's up. You can play
James Polk, the 11th president, and Zachary Taylor, the 12th president. Other than the presidents who share a last name, these 3 are the most closely related. This is because they all descend from this man here, James Taylor Jr. This makes Taylor and Madison second cousins, and Polk their second cousin once removed. I'd also like to point out that Taylor's daughter Sarah was the first wife of Jefferson Davis, who, after Sarah's death, went on to serve as the first and only president of the Confederate States of America, the group of breakaway states in the South that ended up losing the Civil War. The Taylor family also connects to 2 additional presidents. James Taylor Jr. had a brother named John. If we follow his line 6 generations down, we come to First Lady Claudia Taylor, better known as Lady Bird Johnson, wife of the 36th president, Lyndon B. Johnson. But the Taylors also have a connection to one of the most famous presidents of all time, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president. If we go up 2 generations from James Taylor Jr., we get to the family patriarch, John Taylor, who was one of the earliest settlers in Virginia. If we follow his son Thomas's line down 6 generations, we come to Nancy Hanks, the mother of Abraham Lincoln. So that's Lincoln's maternal side. On his father.
All right.
You hear that?
I personally have my own theory about the George Washington diaries and documented text, historical texts, and him talking about warning the Freemason Society he was a part of the Illuminati Thomas Jefferson connection. Just
Okay,
something to throw out there.
What was he saying? Hold on. You ain't just going to throw that out there. Give us some context. What was he saying and why did he give the warning? And after he's done, Sasquatch, if you know anything about what he's saying, we want to hear that too.
I don't know anything directly about the presidents in all of this. I can tell you, coming from an especially ancient family that's had like everything traced since like, I don't know, 1100 or so. Yeah, no, I'm related to all of you and all of them. Like all of this. I am the Illuminati child because I'm related to everybody involved with everything everywhere. It's ridiculous. Once you go back about 8 or 9 generations, you're related to everybody that's here today because everyone else died.
Yeah, if you go back like that, something like that, yeah, I get what you said.
Especially once you get around the Black Plague years, the families collapse down to like 1 or 2 children surviving from out of like 30.
Yeah, and they don't. You notice how they never give us like direct story from that to here. Well, at least not where the education system I was in.
Well, I'm not sure that's necessarily a conspiracy, but more along the lines of the like 1 person in 8 or something like that lived. It was an absurdly dark time, and so the people who knew things died. And
hold up 1 second. Wait 1 second, Sasquatch. Hold up, Sasquatch. Hold on. You must have said something that the algorithm didn't like. It's not that nobody trying to. I heard you breaking up, so what I do is I just hold up. All right, now go ahead. You should be clear now. You're muted. I think you muted yourself.
My sound software just dropped. But once you get through the Black Plague, most of the people who knew stuff or knew how to do stuff died, and the people who were left either had to be taught by someone who wasn't the best, right? Or they learned from basically picking up the tools and banging them against each other till they've seen it happen, like a blacksmith. A town ends up without a blacksmith, and somebody's got to go pick up the forge. A town needs a blacksmith. They need a miller. So even if you're not the best miller, if you've ever seen that material operate, you have a better shot than the dude down the street who's a fisherman.
Thank you, Fiona. I appreciate the compliment. So now you want to say what you were saying about the book now, Mark? Can you put us on? Because some of us haven't heard of that, but personally, right, I've never heard of that book.
It's not a book. It's in the Library of Congress.
Okay.
His diaries and stuff, documented, like the letters he would send and stuff like that.
So why was he sending these letters out for the warning? What was he seeing that was probably about to happen?
Well, if you know anything about the Freemasons, the secret society, they would hide underneath the Illuminati secret gatherings and like tunnel into them and like participate without Illuminati completely aware of it or knowing it. So like from spies and infiltration, they did it to each other all the time. But the situation is they got word that Illuminati has always been like control the world, take over the world kind of people, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, watch out. They might, in the long run somehow find out to destroy this and just are playing along because they see an opportunity here to create a country that could take over the world.
Yep, definitely. Appreciate the context. You could definitely hit play whenever you want, though.
Father's side, Abraham Lincoln is related to the Harrisons. You can see here that the Harrison family starts with 2 brothers, Thomas and Benjamin, both of whom were, like John Taylor, early settlers in Virginia. Lincoln descends from Thomas, whereas the 2 Harrison presidents descend from Benjamin. I'd also like to point out William Harrison's father, Benjamin Harris V. He too is an important figure in U.S. history. being that he was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and hence a founding father. His mother was Anne Carter, and through her, the Harrisons are connected to two more famous Virginia families, the Carters and the Washingtons. Anne Carter and Jimmy Carter are in fact related, but the connection is pretty distant, so I haven't shown it on the chart. Instead, I've shown her connection to the Washingtons. Anne Carter's great-great-grandmother was Anne Washington, the sister of Lawrence Washington. Both Anne Washington's daughter Phyllis and Lawrence Washington's son John immigrated to Virginia. John was the great-grandfather of the very first president of the United States, George Washington. Okay, there's a few more connections I want to show you. Earlier, I mentioned Lyndon Johnson. Well, Lyndon Johnson is actually Obama's closest presidential relative. Both of them descend from a revolutionary soldier named Philip Ament, making them fourth cousins 3 times removed. Finally, there's Richard Nixon. He descends from Henry Howland, the brother of Mayflower passenger John Howland. But the president he's most connected to is actually by marriage, not by blood. In 1968, just after he was elected the 37th president, his daughter Julie married David Eisenhower, the grandson of the 34th president, Dwight Eisenhower.
All right. So here's another connection I have with the Eisenhower thing. I know and have met Dwight Eisenhower's granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower. And I have contact with her.
Is this in the biblical sense, sir?
No, like an actual in person. I was not
just checking.
No, no, I've actually met her in person. I went to the Star Knowledge Conference in 2019, and it was in Aspen, Colorado.
So the actual name of the channel is 5/5. The way I'm about to write it in the chat. So they're saying they can't click the link. So this is actually how the channel looks. The number 5, and then you spell out fifths.
Or, and this is a little confusing, El Jefe.
Or yeah, El
Is
Jefe.
it El Jefe with a underscore at the end of it, all caps. Which is weird because I thought ats were all lowercase, but okay. Okay.
I'm the boss of all bosses. You can hit play.
Eisenhower. Ever hear of a place called Camp David? It's a retreat near Washington that U.S. presidents have been using since the 1930s. Well, it received its current name from President Eisenhower, who in 1953 decided to change the name to Camp David to honor both his father and his grandson, both of whom were named David. At the time, the younger David was only 5 years old. Okay, so that was a look at some of the closest genealogical connections between U.S. presidents. If you think there's something that I missed, be sure to tell me in the comments.
That's it.
Because I remember I used to talk about this, right? And everybody always used to tell me that I was hallucinating, that you couldn't prove it, that because, you know, back then we couldn't. Oh, thank you. I'll pin that one. What is it? So now back then, right? I found you a subscribe. Thank you, Swiss Miss. Appreciate the subscription. So we used to talk about a lot of this stuff that people want to call conspiracy because we didn't have the technology and or the means to actually show the proof. Now today we have a lot of people have more technology, and now the technology brings us closer. Like in reality, I would have never met Mark or Sasquatch in real life. Like because of YouTube, we're able to run into each other and meet people that we would have never met before. So now the way I run my life is I'm more of a positive person. I look at the positive in everything. I don't in my reality, negative don't exist. I don't believe in negativity. But go ahead, my guys.
I want to reflect back onto what this said earlier with that video. Yep. If you're like leaning on that side, all not that many were related. It says right here, chart above traces 25 of them. Okay, that's the chart that guy was pretty much showing you. 25 of the presidents were pretty much guaranteed related within the American.
And how long ago was this? Like, was this made?
This link?
No, What we're looking at right now. Yeah, when was that made? That list.
I'm not sure. It doesn't say. Let's see. Late publishing director rebukes peerage and gently said the following during the 2000 American presidential campaign. Harold Brooks Baker, the late publishing director. So I assume that's where it's from. The presidential candidate with the greatest number of royal genes has always been the victor, without exception, since George Washington was what the guy said.
Okay. So now, like we just said, because there's so much back in the past that we don't know. There's so much back in the past that we do know and has been suppressed. So now this is about the time that you're gonna see someone like Sasquatch probably put on his new helmet. That helmet he got right around there. And don't get crazy if you start seeing him going upside down in a minute too. All that's going to be happening, and he's going to be talking at the same time. It's going to be crazy because I know that these brothers actually have info on what we're talking about, and we are going to divulge all this because the more we know, the more we can make sure that the same stuff don't keep repeating itself, and we end up making better decisions that's going to lead to a better future. Because if we stay uninformed, we're going to allow the same tricks to be pulled on us. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Agree 100%.
So this is why I keep saying all these barriers we have to be broken. I don't care if people try to create some separation by color, by class. I mean, if you got more hair than me, then I could go there. I'm with that one. You know what I mean? Because I'm bald.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, but seriously, the more information we share from each other is how we make better decisions because we're more equipped with, like, I like to use information like if it's weapons and I'm going into war. The more weapons I had, the better prepared I am, the more I am able to succeed.
In preparation, I agree with you. You want to arm yourself with as many weapons as possible, but utilizing them as weapons is an erroneous concept. If you go in negatively, you will reap nothing but negativity.
Say that again.
If you go in negatively, you will reap nothing but negativity.
Yeah, you have to go in with an open heart that says, yeah, there may be some shadows and things I need to work about and have my shield and weapon ready for. But you don't want to kill an innocent person, right? You don't want to shoot the guy who's you're trying to save in there, right?
Or you don't want to shoot the guy that you're going to help.
Yeah.
Or that might help you. You gotta
have the discernment like an officer would when he goes into an unknown place.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And that's why, like, right now, some people are like, what? Like, no, man, we got to break all these social constructs. We got to break all that negative. Because so I'm saying, and my reality is all positive. The universe is always conspiring for me, never against me. It doesn't work. That's not how that thing goes. So you want to chime in here, Sasquatch, man? Because you're pretty quiet over there.
You kind of sound like you're talking about an idea of manifestation, only you're saying the universe does it rather than you. Am I close? Well, I'm not sure I buy into the manifestation concept.
No, I think he's saying it's a relationship.
But I do buy into the idea of thought exercises. If you visualize yourself doing a thing, it becomes much easier to take the advantage of the opportunity when it comes along. You recognize it, you see it because you visualized it before. Yep. And you've worked out how it would look and what you would do and what the right. And then when that event happens, you might stand there utterly flummoxed because here it is in front of you, but you know what to do with it because you've thought about it.
Yep. Exactly. You put that image in front of that third eye and then that mind's eye. Well, some of us call manifest, some of us call create, some of us call visualize. I really think that we're saying the same thing. We're just using different words to describe the same actions. Like, all right, so I don't know how many of you guys even listen or even know who Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is like a neuroscientist. There's a lot with the brain and all that, right? And he talks about how when you visualize it, like your brain doesn't know the difference from an image that you're putting in front of it, like a vision, or when it's experiencing it. So they say, like, let's say you want a new car, a certain car. They say write it down into the purest details. If you can, go to a car dealership, get in that car. Maybe take pictures of yourself in the car. Smell what the car smells like. Envision yourself, whenever you're driving, envision yourself driving the car you want, not the car that you're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it also depends on what you're trying to manifest. I mean,
Yeah.
the bigger the dream, the more work, the harder it is.
Yeah, the more you got to put into it. Yeah, the more you got to, as some would say, sacrifice maybe. I mean, it just depends, because sometimes you got to sacrifice things you do to get into the correct frequency of what you're trying to resonate with, what you're trying to be in harmony with.
You might have to sacrifice having a Lamborghini right now to create free energy later.
Yeah. So now you're going to have a Lamborghini later that doesn't run on gas. And then we could go pick up Sasquatch and the whole car is aluminum foil. So he don't need nothing on his head and he's okay. He'll feel nice and safe in there. Right, Sasquatch?
Yeah, invest that money on building something instead of having a car that breaks down. And
I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted because I have a puppy running around my feet, biting everything that he can reach. And then I have a 128-pound Mastiff who's playing with it.
Oh, wow.
So every time he steps over, it just slams into the side of my chair, and I got to like pick stuff up and put it back.
Oh, so when that sound happened earlier, the Mastiff was next to you?
They were right here. They were both right here. And I swear it sounded like somebody banged on the front door, and I went and checked all the doors, and there's nobody anywhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, normally when it's like that, the dog is normally the first to jump, right?
Usually, but he was being attacked by like a 7-pound monster.
The little the puppy, we said a 7-pound monster.
They were distracted.
Oh man, you guys are so funny, honestly, man. And because I live with real Sasquatch doing world champion hide and seek training. Whoa, yeah, that's crazy. Man. Go ahead, man. So tell me what you guys communities are about. Let's try to figure out how we can bring this thing together, man. Because I know we're in different YouTube sectors. That's how they like to say. Some people like to say the YouTube streets. I say the YouTube corridors because there's no tar out there. And I know the brother down there is really, look, you can see him. He's moving around. He got all kinds of stuff around his feet. So I know he said he got a live. What you got a live? You said tonight at midnight over there, Sasquatch? Is that what it is?
11:30 or so Eastern. Sam's always late, so it'll be around then ish. Yeah. That's Abyssal Musings, and it's Samuel's show. I'm just a guest. Samuel and Lawrence do that. Let's see. Sundays I have the Blast Radius with Captain Curmudgeon, and that's his show. I'm just the producer on that one. On Tuesdays, I have the Naughty Corner with AJOT, American Justice of Texas. Same situation. I'm just the co-host. And then usually on Thursdays, if I'm not completely exhausted by, real life and stuff, I'll do a Chilling with Sasquatch. Or sometimes when I come across a topic that is especially YouTube, I'll do a show that I call YouTube Slave Class, which is basically a discussion about a particular topic with an open panel with different YouTube creators that come up. That one's open panel. What's up, Truism? Welcome in. Lawyer Chick, good to see you. On the 3rd of April, I have a debate with Lawyer Chick who just joined the chat. And we're going to be discussing deportation and the optics thereof, right? Like how that works. Good, bad, evil, whatever, right? That's going to be on the Raging Tomatoes channel.
Raging Tomatoes.
Yeah, you come across her yet?
Yeah, I just posted her chick. If you look up top, I put the smiley face. You talking about Lawyer Chick, right?
No, I was talking about the Raging Tomato, but Lawyer Chick, she started a channel on her a couple of months ago. And we hooked up through Midlife Bro Logic's channel. So I mean, it's all one big happy family over here, bro. We just troll each other and enjoy ourselves. We're not trying to hurt nobody's feelings, except for a couple of folks that are permitted because they're clever.
Yeah, I'm not none of that about. So in my chat, normally I tell people I don't really post too much trolling on the screen, but if you really say some funny shit, I don't care if it's nothing to do with the topic. I literally will post it, address it, thank you for it, and laugh.
I call it a participation trophy, and you're welcome.
There you go. Yeah, I do that definitely. Yeah, because it's like the more we connect, the more we put these puzzle pieces together, the more the puzzle is gonna make sense. But even that topic you talked about with the deportations, is she really a lawyer?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's gonna be some awesome content.
And we're letting Raging Tomato pick. We're doing a 2 panel type setup, and we're going to let the host of the show pick the second person for each side, and so it should be pretty interesting.
So is the Raging Tomato in the chat section? Because I keep looking for it.
No, she hasn't showed up.
Gotcha.
Actually, I want to say, hey, thanks.
Live.
Hey, thanks to Mars Play stopping by, saying hi. Swiss Miz, good evening. Found you too. Subscribe. Thank you, guys.
That's definitely a fact, because I know that deportation topic, man. And don't get me wrong, man. If people don't, because that's a real touchy topic. Well, I don't know about your sector, but over here in this sector, that shit get a little crazy.
And I'll admit, I am very liberal in my acceptance of people, but and this is basically where I'll draw the line. If you came here illegally, technically you're a criminal. But if you came here illegally and you haven't broken any laws, then I have no smoke with you. If you were a felon before you came here and you continued breaking laws, get out. Right now, if there's any fuzz around that, we can hold them until we figure out what's going on, and I don't have an issue with that. But as far as being a criminal in the U.S. and you're here illegally, get out.
Yeah, that
we'll
doesn't.
Give you a bus ticket. We'll send you on the way. That's fine.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah, we do worse to our own criminals.
Yeah. Color don't matter. None of that. So this is what I tell people. I'm like, yo, even if you have a job, right? And you would technically be working under the table, right? I tell people, you know that company you're working for is actually robbing you. They're like, what do you mean? I'm making money, more money than they probably ever made. They're sending money back to their family. I'm like, yeah, you probably are. But maybe you're getting $25 an hour, but that job really pays 30 plus. But since you don't have legal documentation, they can get away with paying you less than what you're actually worth. Sure. That's the part that people are not comprehending.
And not only that, but after you move here and you have kids and then they try to get jobs and then more people come in, the wage just gets lower and lower and you pretty much are a slave. All of it.
I don't really ascribe to the whole they took our gerbs thing. Like that.
No, I'm talking about the reduction of income of how much we get paid.
That's the same conversation.
No, you're thinking like I'm saying.
Economics is more dynamic than that. If wages are, if jobs are available and wages can sustain it, the wages will be what it takes to sustain the jobs because the jobs are necessary and will be worked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if they open the floodgates and they keep paying lower wages to people who accept them.
Agreed. I'm
not saying they're taking anybody's jobs. I'm not saying anything about taking anyone's jobs. I'm just talking about
use these criminals, specifically the criminals, not just random people who came across looking for a better life, but people who came across, joined the gang and started gangbanging and thugging all over the place. They can go, right? Yeah, 100%. Use them as an optical example of what happens when you mess around. They find out. And you can learn by watching what just happened to this dude here, because we're shipping him through Gitmo back to his home place.
Right. You know, because it's like so much stuff that's going on. Because a lot of this stuff leads to more illegal actions. And then on top of all of that, before you try to spin it, what about the people that are actually following the right procedural things that they have to go through? And they're actually, for a better way of putting it, getting in line to get their citizenship. What about those people? Because, all right, let me put this in a way where, let's say you're at a store and and you've been in line for a half an hour. Are you going to be okay with somebody just walking in front of the whole line and going right to the register and cashing out and then walking away? Meanwhile, you've been in line for 40 minutes. You're like, yo.
You got your paperwork, you paid for the lawyer, and these guys are just walking in.
Yeah. Like, what about that person?
And I got sympathy for them, man. I can't help what the government does or how hard they do it. All I can do is speak on how I feel about what is happening.
Yeah, you are
Should the
correct.
floodgates be open? Should we just be welcoming everybody? That is the concept that built America. We are, however, at 360 million, 380 million now.
Yeah,
That's going to be a hard sell on everybody.
yeah.
Our birth rate's down. Okay, I get that. That's still going to be a hard sell.
Right. I'm all about compromise in the long run. Like I want to think, where can we meet in the middle and make compromise with people? You know what I mean? My thing is like, why don't we make it easier for good migrants to become citizens? Why do they have to go get extorted by these lawyers?
So now I don't think. All right, I want to word this correctly. So I think the procedures are to make sure that we're not letting in people that might have like a fake identity. Like, all right, prime example. Let's say I'm down in another country anywhere and I'm like the worst of the worst, right?
No,
but I might have stole Mark's identity. So all my paperwork look like I'm a proper citizen, right? But I'm actually not. I'm thinking that's part of it.
But I've actually known immigration lawyers, and they add all those fees on top and make them pay for it.
I was just talking about the process, not the lawyer part. I was just talking about the process.
No, I agree with the process, but I don't agree with the extortion of money from them.
That's the hell of a way to
process punishment.
Excuse me?
The more extensive a process is, the more punishing it can be, and that's across the federal government. That's not just.
I understand what you're saying, but I know lawyers. They will charge on top thousands and thousands and thousands.
Look, lawyer chick is agreeing. You know, immigration lawyers take advantage of people's desperation. She's agreeing. She goes, the system is old, complex, and broken.
I've known them. I played Magic the Gathering with some of these dudes.
Oh my God. Don't say that out loud. Because people like me, they're not going to hear nothing past the game you just said. They're going to hear nothing past that shit.
No, but like, they're nerds. They play games, man.
Trust me, I'm a nerd. I'm just a different looking type of nerd. I told you my favorite show is Stargate. I'm not lying. Yo, that's not. I watched them all.
I'm totally down. We should do it. We should totally do the Stargate watch party. We'll do the thing.
That's a real thing.
It's just ad movie situation. Yeah. Well, let's do that crap. I'll try to get Jay Verlo in on it. We had an argument about the movie the other night.
I think the TV show is the best. I like the TV show over the movie.
Okay, can I have expose a guilty secret in my heart?
Come on.
I loved all of Stargate. Don't misunderstand me. But my favorite was Destiny, Stargate Universe.
Oh my God.
Do you know why? It's real easy.
I liked it all. I liked the whole thing, but I like the way they went from SG-1 to Atlantis and then to Universe. And I believe there was another one. It only had like a couple of
Origins was a movie based out of the SG-1 series. And then there's a couple of other ones too.
But talk to me about Universe. Come on.
All right. So the reason I love Universe so much is it's based around what at the time was an old video game. Right.
Yep.
This was a video game people have been paying for years. And this one dude, he's like, I think I figured it out. The whole thing is a puzzle. And once you solve the puzzle, you get the answer to the game. And I don't know what happens after that. And everybody's like, you're crazy. You're nuts. It's an old game. It's stupid. It's just broken. The level's broken. And he goes home, he solves it, and he hears a noise on his front porch, and it's Jack O'Neill.
Oh,
solves it. Now, and homie shows up on his front steps going, we need to talk to you.
Oh, so you're talking about when he was playing the game, when he was sitting at mom's crib. Yeah. And then he got mad because the game started all over again. He's like, what? I just beat the game and I'm back to the beginning. He didn't know that shit sent the signal over there. Yeah.
Jack shows up. He's like, we need to talk to you. He's like, no, and tries to shut the door. Jack knocks again. He's like, man, he's like, first of all, we know this about you, that about you, this about you, this
Everything.
about you. You're a size 9 and you had Wheaties for breakfast.
Yeah.
We need to talk to you. But this is a situation. If you were mucking around online and you stumbled across some weird puzzle that you thought you solved, and you didn't really think about it at the time, but you're like, oh no, that's the answer, and just moved on. And then the military shows up going, we need to talk to you. Do you go? Or what do you do?
Go ahead, Mark. Answer that question.
It depends on the timing and how I feel about it.
Well, I
Do
mean,
I get to ask questions?
see, that's the thing. The way these things work is there's a non-disclosure agreement, and they can't answer the questions until after you've at least agreed to the non-disclosure, if nothing else.
Man, they thought about everything, yo. They thought about
they-
everything.
I'm gonna reference my tarot, my destiny
Oh.
cards, and I'm gonna let it tell me what to do.
Okay, so hold on, my brothers. I'm about to send one of my bros the link.
I'm
See
gonna
what my
reference-
bro's talking about. My bro, he's very experienced on a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. We never talked about Stargate, but I know he see the title.
Well, I mean, I would figure that you'd be really interested in Stargate, given a few references I've heard you make about history and
yeah,
kind of the way it's not exactly as something's up with it.
yeah.
History
Even the
makes no sense.
yeah, even the way. All right, even the way. So this is what I tell people. This is the one thing that lasted me in. They created the Stargate universe, the first Star SG-1 in the beginning. Remember, it was based on true historical facts. That's how they like loosely based it. Remember, the archaeologists were in Africa and they were in Egypt. They found all these things, and then we got to Cheyenne Mountain, which is the actual place. If you remember in the TV show, the president was the actual president in real time. So some of it was loosely based at that time. It was just, I was just like, oh my God. And then when they stepped through the Stargate, I was like, that's really how I feel. Because all right, we gotta get part religious now. Because if the Bible is true and it tells you there's a firmament dome, obviously you don't go to them other planets through up. Because you have missions like, what is it called? Project Fishbowl. You guys believe in that? You ever heard? I know you guys heard of that.
I really like the concepts there. The only issue I have is there is no current mathematics that allows for that type of travel. There is nothing in the natural universe that is observable from Earth that says that's a thing. And I'm really worried that God's first commandment of go forth and multiply is really the only one that matters. And we're supposed to be going out there instead of staying here.
Yeah.
And that's possible because we have a whole bunch of different. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say the firmament just means the ozone. That's all that means.
Okay. Everybody, all right. So I'm not a basher. I don't, how do you say, I don't separate on religion. All right. I draw my line. This is where I draw my line. It's not on color. It's not on religion. It's not on finances. I draw my line in. Are you good? Are you bad? Are you evil? Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you here to create chaos? Are you here to try to help the situation and make things better? That's what I want to know. Because I'm not with the negative. I already said negative don't exist in my reality. I don't know about other people's reality, man. My reality, that shit don't exist.
Let me add this: as above, so below. What does a woman's seed look like?
I know. I went through that. I had somebody illustrate when they're talking about the Bible and they showed the intestines and it almost looks like a tree of the woman. I've seen a whole bunch of different. How do you say comprehensions, understandings with explanations on the same topic? But what I tell people is
what I'm telling you is if it, as above is if we're below and it's flat, then above would be flat.
The word realm means flat.
Yeah.
The word plane means flat.
But so, that could be a 2D perspective of thinking about things and not a 3D perspective of things.
What if
because our ancestors wrote things down in a 2D perspective?
What if, and stick with me on this, the universe isn't three-dimensional, but there are higher dimensions, and we're trying to understand things we don't have an accurate perception of, but we have a ghostly understanding of, like quantum wave function. Like these are things that when you try to discuss quantum wave function and the actuality versus the reality of the potential conversion, people just glaze over and stare off into space and wait for me to stop talking.
So
like that.
No, because I was listening to everything you were saying.
I was waiting for it. I was like, I'm not gonna say
no, because it's like I think some of this stuff is created in a way to make people separate. So this is what I was saying, right? I don't care what religion you believe in. If it makes you a better person, then I'm all for it. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you believe in that bed that's in front of you. If you believing in that bed makes you a better person and helps the people around you be better, then I'm all for it for you. That's on you to believe. That's not on me to control you. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like my beliefs needs to be projected on you. I'm not into that, you know? So it's like, I like to listen to what everybody got to say, because what we know is a lot of the stuff we learned in school, a lot of that shit was false.
Yeah.
A lot of that shit was propaganda, because if they really wanted to educate us, you know what's something that they should teach us? Well, they didn't teach us in my school, is how to do your damn taxes.
Right?
When you get a job, how to do your damn taxes.
Taxes for the first time in her life. Like she's got a job. She's had a job for a while. Suddenly she's got to file taxes. She's like, Father, would you go with me to file taxes? I'm like, sure, if you found somebody to do it. She's like, yeah, my mama suggested somebody. I was like, okay. I go over there and I sit and wait for her to come out. She comes out. She's, she had all of the stuff. Everything was fine. She come back. She's like, how does anybody figure out how to do that? And I said, well, here's the thing. You're not supposed to know. It's a specialized trade, and it's specially designed so that people can't just do their taxes. And here, let me give you a bigger secret, honey. When you get your refund back and they tell you that they can get you the biggest refund, it's typically because they arrange it so that they take the most money from you during the taxation.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people don't realize that when they say we're going to get you a huge refund, they're going to take more money out of your check a week so that you get that.
You can get it back right today. You will give you money today.
All that, instead of saying, listen, you can take this much, or we can take more from you, which means we're going to give you more back. Why? Because we took more from you.
Yes.
But people, they don't even teach us that. Go ahead,
which goes to the foundation of this country in the after the Federal Reserve and all that was established.
1913.
Yeah, and all the late 1800s of labor issues and labor laws and treating people and riots and stuff.
It's a lot, man, because we
have developed a system into marketing everything.
Even time.
I'm going to sell air.
Yeah. No. That's the next thing. That's the very next thing.
I'm going to sell it. Mars. I'm going to sell it to Mars.
The one way to radicalize me is to convince me I'm in a Mel Brooks film. That's the hill I'm willing to die on, bro. Revolution. Let's burn this joint.
Oh, man. Because, in a minute, we're going to be paying for our thoughts. In a minute. That's how. So, you guys, it's almost like, how do you say? I don't know. Now we're going to get into some crazy shit. So now some people believe that everything that's being done, that they have to some way, some sort of how show us what they're going to do before they do it. Something like The Simpsons, maybe. You guys know what I'm talking about? Where there's always a way where you can see something like, hold up, and Google it, and then see some cartoon or some movie did the same exact shit 30 years ago.
Or is that programming? But is that programming, or is it just the human mind coming up with as many possible futures as possible and writing them down as fiction? It's not inevitable, but there are bound to be some synonyms in it, if you will, some things that look way too close to not have been informed. But at the same time, on the eve of the D-Day invasions, there was a crossword puzzle maker who was taken into custody because, for no reason discernible by the Department of War or anyone else on Earth, he had used all of the code names of the beaches in Normandy in his crossword. And they brought him in, asked him questions, found no connections between him and anything else. He wasn't a spy. He was just some dude who apparently on the subway or something had heard these words said and used them in a crossword puzzle together.
Oh, that's crazy. Yo, salute to everybody on the panel. Hit that like button on the way and definitely subscribe to the channel. Mark, Mark. Sasquatch, that's my bro, Jamar Milton. That's the actual name of his channel. That's the name of him on all social media platforms. What's good, my guy? I know my guy just dropped a song today. I wish I could play that.
Peace, beloved.
Peace, my brother. How are you? I see you over there on Cute Butters channel.
Yeah, we had him kick up some dust over there.
You know how that go, man. How's everything going, my guy?
All is well, man. I'm not gonna be on here long. I gotta run out. Got some show stuff to do, but I'm definitely want to come in, show some love. I only tuned in for about the last like 2 minutes, so I don't really know what y'all talking about right now. But I just
Hey, did you get my Twitter post?
what up, Dolph? Huh?
You get my Twitter post?
No, I didn't actually.
You should. Man, I've been
Twitter?
replying to you. Yeah, I've been sending shit like all day yesterday.
Hold on.
Damn, you ignoring people on Twitter, bro?
Yeah, it's because he hasn't been active on there since like last year, dude.
Yeah,
Well,
I
the
don't,
bro got like 68,000 followers on IG too.
I don't even be on Twitter, bro. That's the
That's
X
what-
platform, right? That's X.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
where the free
X.
speech is, man. That's where free speech is, man.
Yeah. You know what? I only got it for the Kanye rants. To be honest, I just that shit pisses me off.
Dude, I predicted weeks ago. I'm like, he's just having an emotional anger rant. That's all it
I was
is.
like, wait.
I'm gonna break your brain. Listen to this, man. I figured this out a couple of months ago. If you believe the 2016 election was stolen by Donald Trump, and you believe the 2020 election was stolen by Joe Biden, then the last viably elected person to hold the office of presidency was Kanye West. He got 143,000 legitimate votes in that election, which means if everyone else was cheating, he's the only viable candidate left.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Did you guys anybody hear about the Doge connection to the Vatican and the Venetian thing? I heard about that today. How Doge is actually an old ancient word they used in the Vatican to like appoint a position of.
Bro,
You sure?
comment with y'all later. Love.
Always,
Most
my brother.
All right.
Now that's the bro right there. Actually, that's really my bro. Like we really be building. We be doing all. So remember how I told you, Sasquatch, that sometimes you'll find somebody on here like yelling and arguing. Well, not really arguing, just yelling and bringing content in a different form. He's one of them, and he does what something. He has a rule that when you're debating with him, his number one rule is called sourcing up. You got to show your sources, right? So
That's
on
cool.
other platforms, people just yell. So on that type of stuff, I like for people to go one at a time. But if I see that the watches are going up and down, I'm gonna let y'all go at it. But it only has to be factual based or whatever. You stick to your argument, but no name calling. All that disrespecting all that is out the window. You can ask Stolt. He witnessed that the other day. They were just going at it. And then people were dropping, talking from subject to subject. But yeah, man, we make it fun over here. We definitely make it fun. But we should do a panel.
I walk my dog. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we should definitely do a panel. We got to plan a panel for like, and try to figure out how we can present the Stargate thing. Man. That's really because you guys are the first people that I've come across that I've said this to that didn't look at me like I'm crazy.
Because we're thinking the same thing or around the same thing, same kind
Yeah.
of conspiracy ideas. Yeah,
Well, it's only conspiracy because we don't
have the hard facts yet.
Yeah, I want to say some wild shit. It's only it's like when you see something as a kid, right?
Mhm.
And then when you see something you're not supposed to see, and then your parent sees that you see something you weren't supposed to see, then when you go to the other parent, that parent grabs it and put it where you can't see it. Now, when you come back, you're like, it was right here. Now you look like a conspiracy theorist, but it was right there.
It's called gaslighting.
Okay, there you go.
So the term comes from a guy who was experimenting on his wife, and back in the day they used to use gas lamps, right, and gas lights. And he told this lady he'd be gone, and he would turn the lights off or whatever and be gone for work or whatever, and she'd come home like after doing whatever she would do with the female chores and whatnot, her life and whatnot, the gas lights would be on. And so what he was doing was he would sneak back in the house or something like that along these lines and like turn the lights on and leave, and she'd come and like, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Every time she'd ask him questions about it. And it was like an experiment to figure, and mess with people's heads. And he called it gaslighting. So that's where the term comes from.
I always wonder where that's because the last time I came out, that term was already around. And when people were saying, I was like, it's what? I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But I never thought to ask where it came from or anything like that. But even the type of all right. So now I would love, like I told you, I would love to do a reaction even on the movie, but I don't want 2 or 3 people. Like on the movie, let's do a panel like 9, 10 people, 8 people, some crazy shit, right? So now I would even like to do some on the TV show, because even the way
I haven't watched all the TV shows, so I would like that.
I watched them all. I watched more than once.
I just watched the movie. Really,
See,
I saw some of the episodes, but
all right. So I was with the movie. This is gonna sound crazy. Who was that? Kurt Russell, right? Was that Kurt Russell? Who was that?
yeah, it was. He was.
No.
He was Escape from New York guy. Yeah,
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
yeah.
So everything was cool until they called him Jack O'Neill.
Yeah.
When I seen that, I was like, oh, I can't really resonate with this guy. Even it's just something about him. It didn't hit right. And I really think that's why that movie didn't do what it was supposed to do.
I think that movie was like initial first attempt through the Stargate, and then the show was like more developing research into the Stargate, like at the aftermath of the first initial.
Yeah. No, you're right. So now they even had talks, right? Like I'm telling you, I nerd out. There's even talks that a couple of times that they were gonna bring the show back. And then they keep saying that something keeps happening because there's only really 2 shows that were taken off of TV that people can't really justify why they were taken on. And one is why can't Singles? No.
Sliders.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is where you get the TV show Friends from.
Oh.
It was all right. I want to say this and this is no offense, but Friends is the white version of the show I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it. It's like I want to say it begins with an S. It's a real old show, man.
I'm looking it up. Hold on.
I can't remember what it's called, man.
I'm putting Friends TV show.
Living Single. Yes, thank you, Making of a Man TV. Living Single.
Okay.
Living Single was like the #1 TV show in its time slot, and it was removed.
Oh, I remember that show. Yeah. I watched it. Okay.
Living Single is the #1 show, and the #2 show is Stargate. Stargate was like #1 when it was removed off of the networks, when it was removed off the TV. There was
when was Mandela released?
The movie?
No, the dude from Africa.
It depends on what universe you're at, because some people think he died. Some people think he was unalived in front of that tank. You know that, right?
I'm one of those people. 11.
What are you talking about? He said, I'm one of the people that believe he's unalived over there, but it says he came out of prison this day. What?
Yeah. No, look, what I believe happened is they went back in time. That's my personal opinion. I think they went back in time and saved his butt because him dying was like a major historical moment that sent us in the wrong path or something like that.
So you don't believe in the multiverse then?
I believe in time travel.
You didn't answer the question.
Multiverse is outside of time travel. So, yes, I believe in both.
Yeah, because some people say, now we about to excuse whoever's in the chat we about to nerd off for one moment, please. I like nerding out sometimes because you see the way I look.
It was 1990 when it was released. So 3 years after that, we had all those shows.
Okay, so check it. Yeah, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990. So check it. Like you can see the way I got my hands say thug life. I got gold teeth. I'm not your typical type of looking nerd, right? So some say that when the Hadron Collider was created, that CERN project and all that, they say that maybe that shit really did cause a rift in the universe and time, space, and matter. Because you know that little what?
Yes, the book. Yes, I have read this crazy book by Lisa Randall. Lisa Randall. She's been to CERN. She talks about it. She talks about how CERN's been around since World War II.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, I have a whole conspiracy about that.
It's in here.
So remember the what was it called back then? The Y2K, is that what they called it? From 99 to 2000?
Yeah.
Remember how everything was supposed to shut down?
And it's coming back. Everybody's wanting Y2K pants and shit.
Yeah, so I can't remember the little kid's name. There's this little white kid. and he actually talks about the Mandela effect, and he talks about how CERN actually made a rift, and that's the reason why we have a Mandela effect, almost like some of the universes are melting together type shit. And
Well,
if
they
you
keep
listen,
doing-
what happened?
they keep doing it. They keep doing
Yeah.
it.
So if you listen to what, have you noticed that they actually were able to capture a photo of quantum entanglement at the quantum level, and that photo actually resembles the yin and yang, almost to show that the creation of that yin and yang emblem could have been that. And they say that at the quantum level, with that photo of the quantum entanglement, that they kind of found a quantum leveled universe that they're trying to tap into. And if this is true, what if there's a universe larger than us and we are at the quantum level for another universe? Just a question. Oh, he put that hat on.
That would violate the Planck minimum. I mean, yeah.
He's quiet. Look, he got quiet.
No, seriously, like the Planck minimum is the Planck constant is like the smallest measurable space, and it is basically measured by measurements of an atom, like parts of an atom. So,
Can you see
what would be a Planck constant on a larger scaled universe?
That's the if you could zoom in, it'll help. What's the largest level you said?
I mean, what would be the what would be the Planck constant of a larger universe that we are merely a microcosm of?
All right, if you go to this website, since it's not coming out very well, you just search up John Hagelin, JOHN, for those watching. It tells you this gentleman. He went to, he graduated, PhD. Where is it? He went to CERN, research at CERN. He became a professor of physics. Okay, it's not going to talk about it. Well, anyways, there's these few years he disappears. And nobody knew where he went. Nobody knows what happened to this dude. He just disappears for a few years, like off the map. And he comes back and he's talking about the superstring theory and the unified field of consciousness in his YouTube videos. And it's part of his job to educate people on the unified field and the superstring theory. And he taught it. And here I'm getting the video. He talks about how everything in the universe comes from one little tiny rubber band, like a little tiny, and he shows you the science and everything. I'm going to pull it up. I've watched this video many times.
Okay, so now just because of what we're doing, I'm gonna want to invite you guys. What I'm gonna title it, I'll title it Open Topics, and we could dive all the way into this rabbit hole. You're making me want to do this tomorrow. Like you have no idea how, because I really feel like they separated everything so much that it's hard to put it together because it's so separated. And then on top of that, like I might have info, you might have info, but they want us to be hating each other so much that we never share all of our info so we could put everything together and then we could call them out on their bullshit. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but you'd end up like Stanley Mayer.
What happened? Say that again.
Stanley Mayer, the guy who invented the water car.
Oh, I talked to people about that. Everybody told me I'm crazy.
All right, so I've done some physical experiments utilizing the production of hydrogen through various methods.
Hold up 1 second. Don't remove that. Leave it right there. I'm gonna pull it right back. Go ahead, Sasquatch. I'm sorry.
Stanley Mayer purported to have invented a method of breaking water into hydrogen and oxygen to use as a fuel, but he refused to reveal the how of it. And then one day he flops over dead and all of his gizmos vanish.
Yeah.
Like the family showed up saying, okay, well, we don't want just anybody walking in there because it might be dangerous. He was a genius, yada, yada, yada. The issue with this comes down to the fact that what he was doing appeared appeared to be going over Unity, but I'm not sure he actually was. If he was supplementing his stroke time pause with some other lower gas, or propane or something else like that, because you'd get more oomph out of it than you would hydrogen. And so if you were using the hydrogen to supplement an existing fuel and he just failed to mention the existing fuel, that vehicle would run just like it did.
You know what makes sense to me, Sasquatch? They just recently found out that if you squish a water drop with sound, a burst of white light shows up.
Like a piezoelectric effect?
Yeah, like a white boosh shows up for a few seconds.
So you guys heard of what is it, Stephen Greer, I think his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see how he talked about he did one too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He made the car run on water. Said he made it happen. He did. He said that he put a rocket on a Honda Civic, I think he said, and he was driving around driving around the city with the thing. He said he did this shit like I think in the 90s or something.
Yeah. He was
right. So even people that are in my sector, I talk to people about him and they're like, "Who?" Then I show them a couple videos. So I don't tell them that he worked for the government at first. I leave that out because I just want to get their actual perspective on what he's saying, what they think. And then this guy is crazy. You listening to this lunatic. And then I get to the part how we used to work in, what is it, Area 54 or whatever, 51, whatever it is, and all these government contracts and how he used to have all these security. I was like, he could get through all these places where you and I can't get through, bro. Like he got that somehow for a reason. And granted, he says that they had everybody working in pieces of spaceships. Some of this shit sounds kind of far-fetched, but the way he says it and why it's far-fetched, that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way he says why it's like that, why it's separated in that manner, why you can't just get one answer from one person. And then I seen trying to think what movie it was. It was some crazy movie that they took a bunch of scientists, the best scientists from a whole bunch of different countries. They put them somewhere. So the movie took place like a long time ago. And they told the scientists that they're trying to create what would be called like an MRI, trying to create an MRI machine. Mm-hmm. But they were actually working on like a spaceship or some crazy. So the movie never showed the detail of what they were actually working on. Almost like they left it open to make a part 2. But like the part 2 never really came out. The movie didn't get too much, but it was some crazy shit. It was almost based on what Stephen Greer was talking about. Same type of scenario.
Do you remember Chain Reaction? A Keanu Reeves film from like, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. In this, the concept behind it was that a specific tonal force would reduce the cohesiveness of the hydrogen-oxygen bond and allow for cold fusion at room temperature.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what the white light was.
Yeah, that's not far off of what you're talking about, compressing water molecules.
Yeah.
Now think about it. Once you show this, right? Just like Tesla said a long time ago, he said that he felt like they were stealing his patents and they were stealing his tools to create what he was trying to do. The moment he said, "I'm gonna show you how to take electricity out the air like this." Right now, some people are like, "Yo, are you crazy? You can't take electricity out the air like this." Now I'm gonna give you your metaphor so you can comprehend what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, there's something called an iCloud. That is the version of what he's saying, but it would be electrical version of that. You taking it out of the air.
The ion.
Yeah. No. I mean iCloud, like for your storage. How that's
I know, but
there's a metaphorical spot. Like you can't really see the iCloud, is what I'm saying. Like something like that. Like it's something that your eye can't really see, but it's there. But you're calling it, the actual phrase is the ion cloud. That's what it's called. Is that what you're saying? Or am I wrong?
No, there's a current ion cloud situation going on. Cloud server hosting, Ion Cloud can enhance your business today.
Wow.
Ion mining, cloud mining services. This is digital, like crypto and stuff. So yeah, there's an Ion Cloud thing going on.
Yeah, and these are all. So now I tell people, Tesla thought about this car. The shit is over 100 years old. but we're seeing it now. So now imagine this car was implemented in his time. Imagine where we'd be at today with technology. That means we wouldn't have gas. We wouldn't be so reliant on this alleged, like this fossil fuel, right? Have you ever questioned yourself, what is the fossils?
Sir, have you looked into the veracity and methodology of nuclear reactors from breeder to daughter element reactions?
No, not at all. School me, please.
So the way this was intended to work, if you utilize, say, uranium for your initial product, it's not concentrated enough really to be useful in any type of thing. And so you build a breeder reactor that causes a whole bunch of unstable elements utilizing uranium. Then you take those unstable elements and you sell them to other more advanced, less dangerous nuclear reactors that were planned on being built around the country. And as you step down in the daughter elements, the amount of money required to derive energy from it does go up, but the danger of the off gases and the daughter elements from those reactions go down. So rather than dealing with a toxic thing that's 22,000 years half-life, we're dealing with something that's like 22 years half-life. We can stick that in a barrel downstairs and, in 50 years, bring it up and plant roses in it or something, that's relatively safe in relation to if you believe in the carbon problem, the carbon dioxide issue and global warming, then nuclear is the only current answer. Without cold fusion, nuclear is it.
No, magnets are the true answer.
Magnets don't produce power, sir.
Not currently, but we can do it. I know how.
Oh, so my guy's like a energy. He's into energy.
But are you into over unity?
That's.
Wait, what?
Yeah, go ahead. School me.
Are you trying to approach over unity? Is that your goal? What's your goal? What are you doing? What you doing?
Yes, it's over unity.
Okay, all right. That answers everything. We now know where we stand with each other. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying with modern technology, it's highly unlikely.
No, I know, but there's other things that are coming out. New things.
So I think that things were already out. I just think that now we are gonna be privy to it.
I think they knew about it and they're just like, oh, we have to let them have it now. Okay, fine. Whoever figures it out first gets it, whatever.
That's what I mean. Like, we're just going to be privy to it now. They always have, like the Jetsons. That's always been a thing. They've always been. So now you got Elon making these, I'm going to call them a Judy. Remember Judy from the, that's right. The machine was called Judy, right? From the Jetsons. Little robot. What did she call Judy?
Rosa.
And the over unity thing is not 100% because you have the idea that you just push it and then it goes forever, right? That's not possible like you're thinking. But what is possible is maintenance.
I've researched over unity, sir. I've researched the concept of the breaking point at over unity.
Yeah.
I've looked into it. I've done some Brown's gas experiments. I've done a handful of magnetic experiments. I've generated power by stringing a wire next to a high tension line just to verify that this is a thing that actually happens. And yes, it will knock the flying piss out of you. Careful. Careful out there.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. No, my question then is with how much, like, because we have to get a certain power load, right? You can't just get a little tiny power and then you say, I figured it out. No, you got to be able to generate a lot of power.
Well, okay, so that's a two-way street there. That's actually a fork in the road. Generating over unity power to any level would be borderline miraculous. Even if it took a mountain of power to make it and you got this much more out of it than you put into it, would be miraculous.
Yeah.
Right? And so the amount of energy necessary to start that reaction would be immaterial because we would simply have to generate it, because once we've generated it, we always get more power back from the reaction. So over unity is one of those things that's like a holy grail
Yeah.
That's like it's like zero friction. You know, if you could build a machine with zero friction, you could get closer to over Unity just right there.
That's where the liquids need to come in. Yeah, we saw it. Me and my brother think about this shit all the time.
So no, hold on. Don't stop right. Oh, you just moved it. Come on, no. Go right. Go stay right there. That's where the liquids come in. Elaborate a little bit. Don't just stop.
I can't
Don't
say
get-
anymore because
Oh, all right. Never mind.
All right,
All
then
never mind.
let me hypothesize on those liquids you're speaking of. Magnetic mixtures that react to the magnetic area so as to neutralize the movement of a core. In other words, you'd be able to create a virtually almost frictionless bearing of sorts because there's no actual contact in there. It's all magnetically manipulated fluid.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't need to say
Okay.
anything.
Oh.
The problem is containment.
The power generation for the magnets, the electromagnetics necessary, and then the containment of the heat that occurs because
And
those
the
things are-
heat. My brother brought up the heat. It's like, yeah,
right. It's a rough one.
no, but that's why we need what we need. We gotta save up.
sure.
We got it. We just got to work on it. And then Grok and the AI, they'll help. And the robots.
And you know what else you might need? You might need a couple of more people that probably has a puzzle piece or two that you just not privy to. Maybe somebody has certain technology that you just don't know about that can help implement your plan or your idea and make it a reality. Maybe there's like one little thing that you just don't know about, and they're like,
Or it's one little thing that I told my brother about last week.
or it could be that because you didn't know about that thing 3 weeks ago, a
Yep.
month ago, 2 months ago. You know what I mean? It could be that. You are correct.
Well, it's crazy because my brother's so smart, and I'm like, and then I give him solutions. It's weird.
That means you guys work as a team together. That's how that works.
No, it's just when you want to solve a problem in the most efficient way possible, give it to the laziest person you know.
No. See, you're laughing, and that's the actual fact because the laziest person is going to find the most shortcut possible way to do it. People don't get what he's saying. So, in other words, if you got to run 20 miles, get that job to a lazy person. He's going to try to figure out how to make that shit one.
Yep.
He's going to figure out how to make that shit 1 mile.
I want to work easier, not harder. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want 20 guys pushing this. No, let's go find one robot.
Yeah, some people don't get that concept that if you want to make something easier, give it to the laziest person you know. They will figure it out.
Yeah.
They will figure it out. So now let's get back to what you were showing now.
All right. So this is a beautiful thing here. I love this little presentation here.
Okay, as if it's on YouTube, just make sure the speed is changed.
Oh yeah. Thank you for
Yeah, we want to make sure that this video stays on public and we don't have to trim nothing through YouTube Studio so everybody could get the full context. And thank you for all the subscriptions, man. We're trying to get to 1,000. I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, man, and get in that comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this content and or if you have anything to add on. Let's go, my guy.
All right. Force fields, matter fields. Matter fields is like, the actual matter, and then the force that makes matter do things.
Waves of vibration, like an ocean, supporting smaller waves and higher frequency waves and slower, lazy waves, representing different energies, different mass particles. So in a sense, it's extraordinary that one relatively simple concept of a quantum rubber band, or more precisely, a universal ocean of intelligence of being that percolates rubber bands, that one concept explains the details of our universe. So the picture is really more like this. You have this universal entity, this abstract, unmanifest, silent ocean in waves of vibration, rising in waves of vibration that appear as the universe, and all of the ingredients that we see in the universe as just striking the different tones of the unified field.
All right. Do you see the Jewish candle?
Not that word.
My
Small
bad.
hats. Small hat
Jason. Sorry.
candle. Small hat
Well,
candle.
I'm not talking bad about it. I'm just stating.
No, I know that for some reason the algorithm don't even like the word. You can't even make the sound.
Yeah, my bad. The J candle. All right.
Okay.
Okay, one more point before we end the physics lesson, come back to consciousness. In addition to these superstrings that percolate from this ocean of pure intelligence, pure existence, pure being, the unified field also has the incredible capacity, incredible capability of percolating entire universes. And these universes begin as baby universes, infinitesimal bubbles, but lots of them, like ginger ale. About 10 to the 144th bubbles per cubic centimeter per second. That's a lot of baby universes, and most of them are duds. Most of them pop, they disappear in a burst of energy, but under the right circumstances, some, like our own universe, start to grow exponentially. It's called inflation, and spawn galaxies, like our own Milky Way galaxy and billions of others. And each galaxy, like our Milky Way galaxy, with hundreds of billions of suns. Many, most with planets, perhaps many of those planets teeming with life, as is our own. So I just wanted to mention that to give a taste, at least, of the immense intelligence of the universe in this universal ocean of being, ocean of intelligence, at the basis of it all, that governs not only Earth with its 7 million mutually interacting species and this intricate web of mutual interdependence and mutual nourishment, but billions of planets in our own Milky Way galaxy and billions of universes that probably, as of recent measurements, are probably an infinite number of galaxies. Huge. That's a little bit about nature's organizing intelligence. What about our intelligence? What about consciousness? Well, the concept of meditation sheds light, sort of new light, I think, on what consciousness is. And meditation, classically understood in the yogic sense that gave birth, for example, to the Buddha and the techniques taught by Shankara and so forth.
Pure consciousness on the right, super unification on the left. So he's showing you the similarities of what they figured out with the physics and what they zoomed down in with microscopes and CERN and everything, all the way down what they found, okay? And on the right is their laws of nature and pure consciousness.
Was about leading the mind effortlessly within. Taking the
You need a pause? You need a pause, Sasquatch?
I gotta comment on that. When he refers to pure consciousness, I'm not sure that I actually concur with that concept, because really, I feel like what he's discussing is the information of the predestined state, right? It's not a conscious decision that brings about the development or failure of individual membranes in the quantum foam. It's chance, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
But it's very organized and you can look at it mathematically speaking and do predictive runs on which membranes would pop versus.
But he mentions that earlier in the video that some of these things that come up don't manifest. They don't do anything.
Right. Well, the membrane upon which that universe is linked pops, and it becomes part of the energy that drives the nearby universes to grow. So
Yes,
it's really, really organized, and it looks intelligent on its surface. But when you break it down to an understandable level, it becomes basically the same thing as a bunch of soap suds eventually becoming a single bubble.
Yeah. But that's what I mean is he mentioned that because you said it's like chance, because he does say that it's not guaranteed that some don't actually end up doing anything. It's just,
well, I'm saying it's a
fizzles out.
predestined informal state. Like the information is there and it's predictive, but that doesn't necessarily imply intelligence. It simply implies organization.
Not even like a created algorithm, maybe, for a better word. Like what you want to call like coincidence, like it keeps doing the same thing. You sure it wasn't intended to do that? Like the way you programmed that lightning to do that on your screen?
It's possible. And if that's the case, then it would be somewhat cyclical and therefore predictable. But is it predictable due to, repetition and chaos, or is it predictable due to replicative science? or is the cyclical nature of it imparted in the algorithm we use to understand it, or is it actually a manifest production of reality itself?
So what you're asking is the meaning of life.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. I am split.
You see what we just went through? You see what we just went through? That's why I love these
42.
conversations. You see what we just went through?
It's 42, damn it. No, I'm just kidding.
I
Agreed.
love these
That
conversations.
goes smoke with the zero. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my bad. I forgot what we were doing. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. That's the 420 joke.
Of mind, typically directed outward through the senses, and turning that attention powerfully within to experience deeper and deeper levels of mind, quieter and quieter levels of the thinking process, slipping beyond thought altogether to experience pure being, pure consciousness, purely consciousness. Consciousness beyond thought, beyond sensation, beyond the intellect, beyond emotion, pure, abstract, unbounded awareness. Then, according to the Yoga Sutras, according to the first verse and the second verse of the Yoga Sutras, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga, experience of unity, the non-dual consciousness, is the complete settling of the activity of the mind. Then the seer is established in the self. And it's interesting that Patanjali describes consciousness as the self, because we might think of ourselves as something quite different, something 6 feet tall, something 4 or 5 feet wide, something this or that, something to do with beliefs, gender, race, religion. But according to yoga and Patanjali's, the self is the seer within. The field of consciousness, the non-changing, the immortal, the unbounded, the knower. We all have a knower, or we wouldn't be knowing, seeing. But we.
All right, Swatch. Anything you want to say before we?
I've got 30 minutes, dude.
No, I was actually gonna end the stream a little shorter than 30 minutes, to be honest
Okay.
with you. But
All
yeah,
right, we'll wait till the end. We're good.
Yeah, I was gonna get to. Here, let me get to the good part. Right here.
this was a great stream.
All right, so he's gonna show you the brain activity.
In waking consciousness, even sitting restfully with the eyes closed, if you look at the electrodes on the scalp as you measure the electrical activity of the brain in waking consciousness, there's not a great deal of coherence or communication or correlation between different parts of the brain. Some neighboring parts of the brain are talking to each other, but most of the brain is functioning in a rather asynchronous and chaotic way. This is the same subject. Learn to meditate 3 months later in the meditative state, and you see something you don't see in hypnosis, waking, dreaming, sleeping, or drug-induced states. You see the whole brain functioning in a completely synchronous, coherent way. That is one of the signatures of a new state of consciousness, fourth state of consciousness, samadhi, the meditative state. Now, in addition to simply being interesting, for practical purposes, orderly brain functioning is a good thing. It correlates with intelligence and creativity and learning ability and moral reasoning, ego development, psychological stability, and emotional maturity. Everything good about the brain depends on its orderly functioning. And when people experience samadhi regularly, you see marked improvements in every measure of human intelligence, highly significant improvements, which suggests that transcending is good for you. It's also very good for the health, but I won't go into that. Something real is happening, something very different is happening, something rather radical is going on in the meditative state of samadhi. But back to the.
So that was the important part of all this is like, they teach you to have no thoughts essentially, or like they'll teach you to rephrase a word over and over again, whatever your mantra is or whatever, when you're meditating. And so that way you clear the mind and you zero it into that no, like abstract from thought. So it's like a point when you're just in receiving awareness of yourself and the surrounding as best as you can. without thinking about it.
Okay.
So that's how you do the genius work of developing your mind into a genius level mind. And some people are born with like Asperger's, autism, ADHD, and their minds have that meditative state that happens for a few seconds out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And it's random. And they're like, oh, this dude's not paying attention. There's something wrong with him. No, he's meditating.
Yeah, man.
So-
Definitely.
How far down the meditation rabbit hole is a waking dream state?
I think that's conductive to the brain and the genetics and DNA and the
person. Yeah, and the person and what chemicals they actually have in the brain. Because if you're eating a whole bunch of junk food and you're putting in a whole bunch of best, it's going to make it more difficult. But if you are already at the right spot and you have something like a mushroom in your body, that can definitely help you get into that meditative state. But you know, sometimes that mushroom is like a steroid for that.
Well, what it happens is your ego get mixed in there, and that's why people have bad trips.
So
Well,
I've
the
never.
reason I ask-
Go ahead.
The reason I ask is anytime in my life I've ever reached a point where I just had no idea what to do. I was completely clueless. I've got these choices. I don't know what to do. Or I've got this problem and I don't know why or whatever. The idea of sleeping on it sounds lazy. But I've had a personal event that has made me a full-blown believer on it. I had a car that I purchased, worked perfectly fine. Popped a belt, replaced the belt, and suddenly it runs hot everywhere I go. Just a little bit, not enough to make you want to stop, but enough to kind of make you nervous because it didn't used to do that, right? 3 nights in a row, I have this dream. I was back in front of the car, taking it apart to replace the belt. And I kept getting the front of my shirt wet. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why that mattered. It kept coming back to me. And finally, one morning, I walked out and looked at it and was like, I know why it's overheating now. And I popped the hood. And it was because when you replace that belt, you have to take all the plastic shroud out from around the fan. And part of one of those pieces is the overflow reservoir for the radiator. And it's supposed to have, I don't know, half a cup or so of water in it. And if it doesn't, the radiator gets air in it, and it starts pulling bubbles. And once that happens, your freaking little temperature thing over there start going crazy.
The needle. Yeah.
My subconscious remembered that happening. And even though it had no effect on my conscious mind whatsoever, the question of why my car was overheating stayed on the surface. And the reason came out in a dream. So you make sense of that the way you want to.
I've had dreams of like when I was like 10 or 11, I had a dream that I was at my grandma's house and that I was at the park. There's a lake like down the block in the park. Mm-hmm. And I was walking around it, and in the dream, I knew it was me, and I was walking with somebody else. I felt like I couldn't make it out. It was like a shadowy figure. Like I couldn't make out anything else but that. I was walking around my park. 3 years later, deja vu happens, and I'm walking next door with the next door neighbor girl, and I'm like, whoa, that dream. And it was like, I've had that happen so many times. My brother does it. My daughter does it. Some people just have that gift.
When I experience deja vu, I shut down whatever it is I'm doing. If I get to a point, like you ever seen that stupid TikTok trend that always keep them guessing, right?
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
I start getting the deja vu feeling, you'll see me drop what's in my hand and turn and walk away from whatever it was I was doing. I do not like that sensation. I don't know why it happens. I do not care, but I do not get involved with it. I leave. I'm not doing this anymore.
So to answer your question, when you say how, so it is said that you're using the most brain function at one time while you're sleeping. So when you're like, I don't understand how that happened, that's because the amount of brain usage you're using right now is nowhere near the amount they say that we're using when you're sleeping. So now they say, prime example, when you're looking for something and you can't find it, stop looking for it. Your subconscious will hit you with right where it is when you're supposed to have it. because
just-
that
ahead.
neural link, that neural link between the conscious and the subconscious is not as powerful as it is when you're awake. They tell you, like a reference, metaphorically speaking, the RAM in the computer, the RAM in your mind, you're using the lowest part of RAM when you're conscious. When you're asleep, you're functioning at the most RAM. You're processing the most information. So now your brain is fully functioning when you're like in that sleep state. Right. So now this is why you're having these dreams. So your brain is trying to give you the answer in a form where you can comprehend it and it can resonate. Some people it might be deja vu. Some people, my bad, go ahead. I feel like I'm talking.
I was gonna say that makes a lot of sense because that what happened later with that girl is, like you said, you kind of like just turn and leave the moment and don't go any further. I actually went in further with a cautionary, like, okay, what's going on? Is this like a, don't go here, or you know what I mean? Like what happened was that girl, I was 13, she was 14. Of course, puberty, you want to play with the girl, right? And she was my next door neighbor. She just moved in there like 6 months before that or something like that. And I had a friend named Tyler who lived like 4 blocks near the park as well. And he ends up with that girl. And looking back on it, as if I would have went after that girl and got with that girl, I probably would have had all kinds of beef and issues with my friend, and it would have been a nightmare. And so luckily I didn't actually like pursue it or like try to romantically do anything with the girl. I just kind of was like, oh, we could just be friends. I'm cool with that. And backed off. It was weird because I felt like I should back off, and I went with my intuition. And so I think what it was is my dreams telling me, hey, yo, you keep desiring having a girlfriend. There's one coming up, but you might not want that bitch. She's a hoe. No, I'm just kidding.
Because the theory of the multiverse, they tell you everything has happened in every which way possible. I know you guys, because I thought about this, but I have a real reputable podcast that actually spoke about this in depth on the Joe Rogan show. I forget who was I forgot who the guest was. Damn it. But they talk about how like it's like in the multiverse, like you might get to an intersection, right? In this reality, you went straight. There's another reality where you turn right. There's another reality you turn left. There's another reality you're going the other way around. There's a whole nother reality that you're in the passenger seat. In essence, they saying you lived out every which form, fashion of every type of scenario in all scenarios at all times. So you're just in the resonant reality in that moment is what I'm guessing. So do you guys want to say anything before we check out? We've been up here 2.5 hours, man. And I want to say thank you to all the Caucasian Asian subscriptions, all his subscribers that pulled up, that show love in the chat section, all the subscribers I got. I want to say thank you to Mark, to Thoth. I keep calling you Mark Thoth.
It's
Thank
okay.
you
You can just call me Mark from now on.
I be doing that. You notice that, right? So, but thank you to Thoth Mark for pulling up and showing us, giving us more content. Thank you for all your subscribers that got in the chat, participated, that subscribed to the channel. I want to thank everybody in the chat section, all the subscribers, everybody who was participating in the chat, Major Key Boxing. I appreciate everybody that came through. I think I got almost 100 subscribers today. To be totally honest, it's like right there, like seriously. And you, because you didn't tell me you were going to do that. I didn't know none of that was going to happen.
This is what I do. I look specifically for channels that are underrepresented in the algorithm that I know are doing things that people like to watch, or doing things like what people like to watch in a different way. And that's why I do it, is try to bring, I want to watch better content. The only way I can watch better content is if you're making better content.
I definitely appreciate that. You want to say something before we check out, Mark?
Yeah, thanks to everybody too that subscribed or came over to my channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. So I want to thank everybody for spinning the block. I don't know how we feeling. I might do another live in a little while, just open topics. We talk about anything, but I'll probably do the other layout. I mean, but it's something about this layout, man. This is only like the third one I've done like this. But definitely, man, we're gonna see what's going on, and keep the eyes out on that Stargate and the movie reaction. And I don't know who is into this as well, but Thoth Mark actually has a video on his channel about Atlantis and his theory on Atlantis, his spin on it. We're going to react to that. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. If I don't got nothing to go live about, I might leave it open and we're going to react to that one tomorrow. Maybe. If that's cool with you. And maybe Sasquatch could pull up if he got the time, or maybe we could set it around when he's available to see what he thinks about this Atlantis.
I have a crazy Atlantis theory that has nothing to do with an island sinking.
Are you available tomorrow so we can see what his video is about and we can react to it and then we can spit on it?
Round 6, I have a show with the same guy I have a show with in a little while. I'm usually the co-host of that show, but he's asked me to come in as a guest on this one tonight. So, you know, but yeah, I should be. I don't want to make a promise because I'm home alone. I've got 2 daughters and 2 dogs, and God knows what might happen. But if I'm available, I'm willing.
How about during the day and the afternoon tomorrow?
The afternoon should be fine.
It's 2:00 East Coast time. I could schedule it maybe.
As far as I know, that should be fine. I don't have anything planned, provided nothing weird happens, you know.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We definitely got the contact information, but don't you guys go nowhere. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Be on the lookout for the scheduling. Thank you, everybody, for all the subscriptions. Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate you. And by the way, make your day great. Don't let the day affect you. You affect the day. I believe in you, and I believe in yourself, and create your happiness.